So we should also discuss our opinions on everything that was going on in Mystic Falls this episode between Stefan, Klaus, and Caroline.
Oh, so Caroline, I love you so much.
Andrea's favorite.
Sorry, I just really love them. Just the moment Stefan walked in on Klaus and Caroline, just the chemistry between all three of them just kind of, like, lifted, and it just...
I really like Klaus and Stefan scenes on their own, but I love Caroline. Everybody knows that. And I love the banter between Klaus and Caroline, but I don't, like, ship them like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is a huge Klaus and Caroline fan. She's in the background if you can hear her.
She's your mom.
But I feel like I love the dynamic between Klaus and Caroline because I feel like the tension between them kind of gives them something to play off really well.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of gives us something to smile about between everything bad that's going on in the show. But it also gives them a lot to think about and question within themselves because they're such polar opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they're good for each other in a way that they make each other question themselves, but I don't like the idea of them being romantically involved, at least not for another, couple hundred years.
Mm-hmm. see, the thing about me is that I'm very, very Clefin and I'm very Caroline, but I'm not huge on Caroline.
I feel the exact same way. I
only like Caroline when it's Caroline.
See, I'm the opposite. I love Steroline and I love Clareline, but I don't like Clefaireline for some reason.
But they seem all to work really, like, have an interesting dynamic when they're working on stuff,
Mm-hmm. And as much as people don't like to make the comparison, I think I really like the witty banter, and the only two characters who really bring that in are Klaus and Damon.
Yeah.
I think they're very different, like, character-wise, but their personality is, I don't really care, I'm going to say whatever I want to say, and they really like to tick everyone off.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys feel about the fact that, I don't know if you guys expected it, but I definitely did not expect Caroline to go in there and kill the witch.
No, I didn't.
And make the sacrifice.
I didn't expect it, but I would have done the same thing.
Well, when she showed up, I kind of thought that she would.
Yeah. Once she showed up, but I was not expecting it, like, ahead of time at all. I don't blame her for doing it. I just kind of, like, I'm kind of upset with the writers for doing this because every episode, literally every episode, they give Caroline some reason to be in pain.
Yeah.
First, her best friend attacks her mom, and then her best friend very nearly kills her, and then she has to kill 12 people to protect her other best friend.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
I don't really feel like blaming Caroline because then we have to blame every single character in this entire show because every single character will do this or has done this at some point,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to go off on Caroline. I still love her character, It's this one thing that I can't really judge her for.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really huge ethical question that are brought up in so many different situations, whether one person has more value over a number of people that you don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Like there's that one question that people always ask you: Would you save 5 people from a burning building or one sibling?
Right.
People ask that all the time, and this is where that kind of thing comes into play. Are you going to save
like
your
your
best
morals
friend?
and your ethics?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't blame her. I think either way, whatever would have happened, I couldn't have blamed her for it. I was a little stumped by Bonnie, her memory loss.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so sad.
Oh.
So I don't know if she was possessed in some way when everything was going on, because she was acting really weird ever since they got back from the island.
Yeah, or Silas just did something.
Stefan said that the spell that the witches were doing must have done something to mess with her mind, but as soon as she came out of it and all the other witches were dead, she said the triangle is complete.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it wasn't till way after the ritual
Her
that she
eyes
lost her
creep the shit out of me.
Yeah, that scene was creepy as hell.
It was. They did really well with it.
Yes, they
Pat
did.
Graham was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we didn't have to watch Bonnie react to Jeremy being dead, because
I know, that would have been heart-wrenching.
I know.
We can't take it again. We just can't watch this again for a third time. First with Bonnie finding out the first time, then Elena finding out the first time, and now Bonnie finding out again. No, we're not doing
Yeah.
She
I
forgot
swear
about
they
the
made-
Bayman hug, though. That was so depressing.
I actually,
yeah.
I can't think of any good reason why they would have thrown in that she forgot, other than to make the audience relive Jeremy's death. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And like we got that promo for next week. Caroline saying to Klaus, like, I'll make this like your something hell on you, or so I can't remember what she says to him. It's something very un-Caroline like, in a very un-Caroline way.
But then have you seen the promo photo?
But yeah, she says something to Klaus, and so a few people are just like, oh, she's possessed. It's like, well, maybe, because that is very, like, the way she said it was not Caroline-like. I mean, yeah, she could be pissed at him all she wants, and it's understandable, but the way she said it was just not her.
Okay, I just watched the promo, and Caroline says to Klaus, I will bring you nothing but misery.
You know, I bet Silas probably now possessed her, seeing how much that Klaus cared for Caroline in the woods.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, like they said, helps Klaus, reluctantly helps Klaus. Klaus comes to some kind of understanding of Silas's powers. So I think he's going to start to kind of understand, oh, he can frickin' possess people.
Right. So at will, or he can change, like, because he's not possessing Shane's body, because Shane's body is still on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's like a shapeshifter of some sort. Like he can disguise himself, or something.
Oh yeah,
like
so that might not even be Caroline there.
Yeah.
But then
might be
again, at the
Silas.
same time, you know, Bonnie's been acting weird, and now she doesn't have any memories since she came off the island. That's kind of why I thought it was possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, but Shane's body is still back on the island. As far as we know, Rebecca didn't bring it back or anything.
Oh, yeah.
So if Shane's body is still on the island, that means that Silas is in his own body, but he's powerful enough to disguise himself pretty thoroughly, so...
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he does that to sort of emotionally hurt Klaus in some way. But I'm not understanding, because if it were just Caroline, Klaus didn't do anything particularly wrong to her this past episode. Like, other than saying, you know, find someone less terrible that you can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's only because Caroline hurt him, so...
Right. And she was mad about that, but she stomped away. I'm pretty sure she understood that he was getting back at her, and she kind of... I don't think she was that angry about it, so I don't know what else she's gonna... Unless it's another thing about Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that was very vindictive, what she said, and I just don't see Caroline as vindictive and vengeful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see Elena and Catherine scenes, which we haven't seen in
Yeah.
forever.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I love seeing them have scenes together. When was the last time they had a scene together?
Did they even have a scene together in season 3?
No, I don't think so.
Just like season 2, whenever they killed like his dad or something.
I mean, I'm sure they avoid it as often as possible, so they don't have to make Nina do that much work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We talk about the flashbacks.
Oh, yes. I know a lot of people were angry at Damon for what he did to Lexi, but I feel fairly indifferent about it. I mean, he killed her, so how much more angry can we be at him for something that he's done to Lexi?
Yeah.
You know, so...
I wasn't surprised.
I found it kind of weird that all of a sudden she came to help him, but that's because we would not have expected that from, like, season 1. But, like, everyone was mad, like you said, everyone was mad at her for him for, like, playing her and pretending he had feelings. I really couldn't care less. She's not a character I've ever cared about.
Mm-hmm.
So...
See, the thing is that the last flashback we had, you know, doesn't really suggest that she cared about Damon at all. I mean...
Yeah.
She knew how much Damon wanted to go with Stefan, and she's just saying how Damon was going to ruin Stefan, even though there's absolutely no proof that Damon would ruin Stefan. For once in a long time, Damon is actually happy to see Stefan. So, you know, she didn't even let that have a chance, and she obviously didn't care anything about Damon at all, and now all of a sudden she does? Like, oh, I care about you too. I came here to check up on you. I didn't really buy it. I don't know, so...
But I really wish they would have shown us more about how Stefan convinced Lexi to go, because I feel like he would have had to have done a lot of convincing. Do we want to do the question now?
Okay.
So the question is, if you could have one character from any fandom come into the show and its plot now, who would it be?
And it has to be one character. Oh, no, I don't know one specific character. I feel like it would be really neat to have a crossover from, well, right now I'm watching a lot of Buffy.
Yeah.
So I think it would be really neat to have, like, Buffy or Angel, probably. Yeah, Buffy or Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I guess. I think Buffy would be really cool. I don't think they've had a big enough threat as far as hunters go.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously Alaric didn't know that much about what he was doing, and then teamed up with them. And Connor was killed off really fast. Jeremy was on their side. So they haven't really had a hunter or a slayer threat. So I think a Buffy kind of character would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But they also haven't done a lot with witches, so I'm tempted to say that the charmed ones should be in the show.
What season are you on Buffy right now?
I'm in the middle of season 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I'd say Spike from Buffy, because there is flashback of Spike in New York in 1977. Same year Damon was.
Oh my gosh, that would be really neat.
Exact same year Damon was in New York, yeah. So
I think that's what Mel said too. I think Mel said Spike too.
Yeah. So, like, I have this in my mind that they knew each other. Because I mean, seriously, like, actually, I made a post on it on Tumblr of side by side. They were both there in the same year. They were both in the punk scene,
mm-hmm.
And it's just having them in the same city in the same year is pretty much just asking for a crossover.
It's asking for it bad. Oh my gosh, that's great. I also think it would be really neat. This is a really popular crossover, so I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people. But the Winchesters.
Yes, the Winchesters.
Would be excellent. I would love a Dean and Caroline scene. I would die for a Dean and Caroline scene.
Because Candace was in an episode of
Supernatural.
Hi. If I had to pick one, I just think it would be so cool to bro TP with Damon, would be Captain Hook from Once Upon a Time. I could see them do some pretty badass stuff together. And they kind of have both that, like, witty, stupid personality and, like, flirtatious side, so I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to have Jeff from Cult for a interesting doppelganger hijinks.
And for all those people who don't watch Cult, who is Jeff played by, Brie?
Matt Davis. can always rely on me to bring Matt Davis into every conversation.
I haven't seen Cult yet, but I knew immediately what you said.
You have to start watching it. It's so good.
It is amazing. The last episode.
Oh my god.
I'm just hesitant because I just want to know if it's gonna keep going. Because if it's just gonna stop, then I'm not sure I want to put my heart and soul into this show when it's just gonna end.
Like The Secret Circle.
I didn't watch much of The Secret Circle. I pretty much just watched a couple episodes because Gail Harold was in it. And I'm a big Gail Harold fan.
You should watch it, and then on Friday we can watch it together and bring the ratings up.